All right, today we're going to crack the code on something that, let's be honest, can feel a little tricky sometimes, doing math with decimal numbers. But trust me, we're about to break it all down into a few super simple, really powerful rules that are going to make everything just click. So, take a look at this. Does a worksheet like this look familiar? I know, seeing all those decimal points all over the place can be a little intimidating. But our goal today is really simple. We're going to pull back the curtain and show you the straightforward logic behind every single one of these problems. You'll see, they're not so scary after all. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to start with an amazing shortcut, the power of 10 trick. Then we'll dive right into decimal division, solve a tricky little multi-step puzzle, and by the end, you'll have a complete decimal toolkit. Sound good? Let's do this. Okay, we are kicking things off with what is, no joke, the biggest confidence booster in all of decimal math. This is a shortcut you're going to use constantly. It's awesome. Here's our first one, straight from that worksheet. We need to find the product of 97.24 times 10. Now sure, you could stack them up and do the whole long multiplication thing, but why would you? There's a way faster way to do this. Let's just use some common sense for a second. If you have about $97 and you multiply that by 10, is your final number going to be bigger or smaller? Bigger, right? Of course. And that simple piece of logic is the key to this entire trick. See, because we know our number has to get bigger, all we have to do is move the decimal point to the right to make it bigger. Now, how many spots? Well, the number 10 has 1 0, so the decimal makes one little jump to the right. That's it. That's the whole problem. And boom, there's our answer, 972.4. No big calculation needed, just a quick little hop with the decimal. It really is that simple. All right, now let's flip it and see how this same idea works for division. Our next problem is 375.8 divided by 100. We're going to use the exact same kind of thinking, just in reverse. Okay, so when we divide a number, it gets smaller. To make 375.8 smaller, that decimal point has to jump to the left. And how many spots does it jump? Well, look at the number 100. It has 2 zeros. So, you guessed it, we make 2 jumps to the left. So here's the big takeaway, the thing you've got to remember. When you multiply by 10, 100, 1,000, the decimal moves right to make the number bigger. When you divide, it moves left to make the number smaller. And the number of zeros tells you exactly how many jumps to make. Easy, right? All right, you've totally got that shortcut down, so let's level up. Let's tackle a long division problem with a decimal. And just like before, this whole thing comes down to one simple rule. Here we go, our next challenge, 47.201 divided by 7. When you set it up, it looks pretty much like a normal long division problem. But you know, that little dot right there can cause a lot of confusion if you don't know the secret.
And here it is. This is it. The one, the only, the unforgettable rule that makes these problems a piece of cake. Before you even start dividing, you just bring the decimal straight up.
So the very first thing you do is you find that decimal in 47.201 and you put another decimal point right above it on the answer line. Just lock it into place. Once that decimal is there, you can pretty much ignore it and just solve the problem like you're dividing 47,201 by 7. It's that easy. And by following that one beautiful, simple rule, we get our final answer, 6.743. You see? You didn't have to guess where the decimal went at the end. You put it in its place before you even started the hard part. Okay, team, it is time for what I like to call the final boss of our worksheet. This problem is going to combine addition and subtraction, but you know the drill by now. There's one core principle that's going to make it all fall into place. So here it is. Simplify 48.3 minus 6.85 plus 16.27 minus 9.5. Wow. Okay, seeing it all laid out horizontally like that, it's just a bit messy. The absolute key here is to get organized first. And the secret weapon, the absolute game changer for getting organized with decimal addition and subtraction, is this simple phrase: line up the dots. This is the most important rule. If you do this, you will get these right every single time. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to rewrite this whole thing vertically. We'll take our positive numbers, the 48.3 and the 16.27, and we're going to stack them up so their decimal points are in a perfect straight line. Then we do the exact same thing for our negative numbers, the 6.85 and the 9.5. You know, it helps to add some placeholder zeros just to keep everything tidy. Then it's simple.
add each column up, and finally subtract the total of the negatives from the total of the positives. And after all that careful lining up, we get our final, beautiful, clean answer, 48.22. You see, the math itself wasn't so hard. It was the setup, lining up those dots, that was the real key to success.
So there we have it. We have walked through and solved every type of problem on that page. Let's do a quick recap of the powerful new tools you have in your decimal toolkit. Here are the keys to the kingdom, right here. If you're multiplying or dividing by powers of 10, just move the decimal. For long division, your first move is always to bring that decimal straight up into your answer. And for any adding or subtracting, the golden rule is to line up those dots. That's it. 3 rules and you're good to go. You have officially cracked the code on decimals. So I'll leave you with a final thought. Now that you have these tools, where are you going to see this kind of math out in the real world today? Is it going to be at the grocery store? Maybe when you're looking at the prices at the gas pump? Or maybe even understanding some stats in the news? Keep an eye out. You're in on the secret now.